whiskey were the officers, and if they wanted to break the law, they would share it. I can't remember about wine. They might have had it. Well, yeah, it ain't Japanese wine.
Hey, Dad, was that when that guy was cleaning his gun? Was that gas can full of gas or empty, or halfway full?
I think it was empty. I don't remember.
Some people say it's more dangerous with the more fumes in it.
Oh, if it would have been, it wasn't full. Because
Okay.
the full ones are outside.
Yeah.
It was just there in there. And,
Most of them are half empty anyway. Fumes, and who cares? It's gonna blow you up.
But, yeah, I sat on it. It was just a sit on it. It was a mistake. But there were a lot of, some guys, in fact, that movie Patton, they show a guy that he wanted to go home, so he shot himself. Oh, man. And Patton slapped him. He said, "You coward, you." And anyway, it was an example. But, no, I can't remember. No, what was in that can was kerosene. And we could use it. We had kerosene lamps inside the tent. And kerosene lasted longer. Gas was dangerous. And if you didn't watch, we were in these small tents. It's an octagon thing we slept in. It's this thing of a bed, sandbags, and then a cot that we could sleep in. And to keep it warm in the wintertime, we had a little stove in there. And we used kerosene. And gasoline, we used gasoline in some mistakes. We had tents burned just like that, burned. And then you got a spark, burn the whole thing down. Now they have probably tents that are unburnable. They don't burn. Back then they burned. And every once in a while you see a tent go up in fire. Fortunately, nobody was in it to get burned. So you had to be very careful with it. Pick it up, cans about this like this, not that wide, this high, a cap, and go up and pour it in. And winter time, everybody had a turn, run it out and get the gas and pour it, and try to get it done without making a mistake. We had an officer, the company commander's tent go, and he was looking to blame somebody for it. It's one of those things. Fortunately, he wasn't in it. But kerosene, they use more than it.
You haven't talked to your Amish? You said you haven't talked to your Amish guys in a while?
None
of them?
In a long time. I got one guy I keep thinking of calling. He could have been my best friend. He was so good. But he was, like I told you, he was the guy that got a bonus of $36,000. He was.
Is that the guy that sold Nick Cage, Coppola?
Pardon?
Is that the guy who sold furniture to Nicolas Cage, Christopher Coppola, whatever?
Oh, there was one guy that did. Yeah, he made furniture for Cage. Yes, I forgot who that was. Thank you for reminding me.
You know, that's a rumor. We went to the spring break. We went to Sedona, and we went to that church. The whole thing, we looked it up. It's a big rumor that Nicolas Cage owned a house over there.
Oh.
You guys are looking down at it. That place is freaking crowded, but
I don't know. Yeah, they had. You know what? If he didn't come down, and they hire people to do it for them, and they go down and he tells them what they want, and they go down and find it. They made all kinds of stuff. They made coffins. I call it one that just made coffins, wood coffins. And if it was a Jewish coffin, they knew it was going to a Jewish group. They weren't allowed to use any nails.
pegs.
No nails. They had to use wood what do you call them?
Pegs.
Dowels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they made them, and they weren't cheap. And it was interesting. You see, the one place they make it out of wood. I can't remember if they made them out of metal. That might have been one that made them out of metal, but I think mainly they made them out of wood, and any wood you want. And they had upholsterers, women that did the upholstery inside, and yeah, they. Oh, I went to Amish funeral. Now let's say your best buddy dies, your best buddy, your best friend, or one of your friends. Guess who digs the hole and throws the dirt back? His friends. His friends. Because they believe they're sending him off to the right place. So they do it. Yeah, they do it. And I went to a number of them. I was really impressed. They do it. They throw it. They get all the dirt in. And whether it's a wedding or a funeral or a birthday or whatever they celebrate, and they put out a big spread of food, and you never eat so good. They just keep bringing it to you. You can eat till you're purple. And they feed you, just family style. They just pass the food along. Amazing.
Did Jigs ever? Your brother Jigs, did he ever do the locksmith stuff? He never carried on with it.
Pardon?
Jigs, he never did the locksmith stuff like your dad did. You never tried to do it.
No,
you just kind of gave up, or what?
That's never anything I wanted to do.
No, Jigs.
But you know what?
Jigs, Uncle Jigs.
I know. He may have. I don't
Oh.
remember. It wasn't that hard. Actually, later on, if you went to a dime store, you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
They have you put your key in, and they have a thing that follows you. That's what do they call it? It's just a probe that sticks in, just follows your.
It's all automated. Home Depot or whatever, yeah.
And the other one cuts it out, so you can do it yourself. But that was later invented. But back then, when my dad was doing it,
Jig, Uncle Jig was interested though.
Pardon?
He was interested in it. He was interested. He kind of was interested, right, Uncle Jigs?
Who was?
Uncle Jigs.
I can't say he ever really.
You said but he said he kind of was interested.
I think he had ideas of doing it, but I don't think he ever did it.
No.
My dad was foolish. He had a good trade going. He had 5 sons. Think if he taught us how to do it and open a key shop, different locations in the city. Oh, the family would have been made money. He didn't think. You have to think big. He didn't think big. That's the problem.
Donald Trump.
It's not his fault. That's the way they thought that. They just thought, if I'm successful in my own business, that's enough. No, it's not enough. There's some great business today. Started out this way and they spread it out. They got other people to do the thing. What's the one they show every once in a while? I forgot what the product was.
We said the people at the Westside Market. They thought big.
Yeah,
Fisher Foods and A&P, right?
Yeah, so Westside Market, some of them wound up owning A&P and other different grocery stores.
Yeah.
Bigger than just in a stand. So you have to think big. And
Donald Trump.
And the banks are waiting to loan you the money if you have a plan, pro forma, they call it. Pro forma, you fill that out, you bring it to the loan officer, and he looks at it. That looks good. Well, of course, they charge an interest, but they don't loan it freely. They look at it. Hey, that
Just a
sounds
quote.
very possible.
It's just a quote, whatever. But
And if it looks plausible, they even had a list. They even had a list there. Here's all the businesses. And what was the top business? Had the most failures. Everybody thought it was easy. The tougher businesses, the rarer the business, the better off you were, because there wasn't that many of them. When you're a five and dime business, that many people in it, a little tougher. But if you come up with a specialty, you can do it. A locksmith was a specialty that time. He had 5 sons. He could have set up at least 1 or 2 more if he thought that way. He didn't think that way. He was like most people. I have my one business. I'm satisfied with that. But he should have thought, I got these sons. Let me put them. Even then, even daughters, if they were smart enough, they could run it. And it's different times. If come, but for that matter, I could do it. So if you have that opportunity, they want to do that. But he had a good business going there. Oh yeah. So it depends on the business. Today, no, it wouldn't be. But a lot of businesses started that way. Somebody comes up with, you buy food now that started out that way, maybe. Someone comes up with a special recipe for pancakes or whatever, and they box it and sell it. You have labels, Labels, what's that? And then when I saw, oh my gosh, those are labels. I mean, those big rolls, oh my God. You don't realize it's out there. Some businesses that are super special.
yeah, I want to say the banks are huge. They're lending money, so you could, on insurance side of it, they're in cahoots.
It takes money to make money. I don't understand. You got to have. But if you have the banks, the smart people use other people's money.
That's what we're doing. That's what insurance is doing. I'm already invested in stuff where they're using banks to make money for you. All these annuity things, there's all kinds of annuity products out there. 401k sucks right now.
If you,
but whatever.
Come up with a business that's unique.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Your grandma and grandpa met at an American club in Columbus? North, you said it was an Italian club, right?
They had a North Italian club in Columbus.
So he had workshop keysmith jobs in Cleveland. That's why he moved to Cleveland to make keys.
He moved up here. He
had a key opportunity or what?
Something happened down there.
He met a dude.
He didn't want to stay in Columbus, so they were going to go to Sandusky, which would have been good.
Meet up with the Grudens.
Pardon?
You meet up with John Gruden, whatever.
Well, anyway, he showed up in Cleveland. He West 25th Street and Frame Avenue, and he opened his key shop, and he did a regular business. He didn't make a lot of money, but he did okay. Back then he would charge 35 cents a key. One guy told me, he said, "Man, your dad charges a lot for a key." I had nothing to do with it, but he made keys and they fit. That's all they wanted, and he could sharpen anything. That's what my brother Jiggs could do. He picked up on sharpening. He could sharpen a knife or a blade. He got good at that. But as far as keys, he may have tried to get into that, but I can't.
I think I see he kind of tangented off of it.
I never had a knife. to do that. If I was going to be anything, I was going to be a printer. Worked for a plain dealer, set and type, stuff like that.
You would have met our neighbor across the street. He died last year at 91. He worked for the plain dealer forever.
He's a printer?
He was at the plain dealer forever.
I like to talk to him.
Well, he's dead now. He died a year ago.
Pardon?
He died a year ago.
Oh, what was his name?
Ray, shit.
That's okay. I don't know.
Miskowski or something. And he died. He was 91 last year and he died. Right after we walked over to wish him happy birthday, and a week later, the ambulance showed up, he's dead. But the house is vacant. I mean, they're being... Well, I don't know what's going on with the probate or whatever, but the grass is tall now. But they've been gutting the house for the last 3 months, 4 months. I don't know what's going on.
The printing business, they used to have men set and type and all that. They had lithograph, and they'd sit there like on a typewriter, and the thing, it was amazing machines. And now they do it electronically. They do it totally different. Wall Street Journal, by wire they printed here. It's totally different. The plain dealer even. It's all totally...
That's all contracted now.
Pardon?
It's all contracted now. The building here, plain dealer, they print the USA Today, New York Times, plain dealer, and there's other newspapers. They do all the printing here.
Yeah.
It's all contracted out, and then also they deliver it locally, all that crap. It's all third party. Everything's third party now. How's your mother?
I knew there was guys that had Star Calendar. They would make calendars. They
I like the rigid.
Anything you want.
I like the rigid cool calendars. Rigid tool calendars.
Oh, the rigid.
I still have them all. I still have them all.
I
Yeah.
used to bring those home and
I still
hang
have
in your
them.
room.
I started subscribing to them. When they quit, they stopped them.
I don't think they issue them anymore.
My kids covered them. I was hanging them up, and they turned them around and covered them with sandpaper.
Wait. Ridge Tool. I don't know if they're still.
They are. We're at Home Depot. Rigid Tool.
I'd have to put that on that, see if they're still in business.
They are. They're all over the place.
Ridge Tool.
Rigid.
That was a great company. I called on them.
My favorite's Bosch. Bosch is the best one, man. They're expensive, but they're the best.
What's that?
I like Bosch.
What?
Bosch Tools, Bosch. Bosch Automotive, big German company, Bosch.
Oh,
My wife, Rosanna, likes DeWalt. I like Bosch. Whatever.
good. No, that's,
I got a customer, Bosch. I have Bosch Automotive is a big customer of mine.
Yeah.
But I like their tools, man. They look like Makitas, but
what's the name of it again? How do you spell
Bosch, B-O-S-C-H, Bosch.
it? I should know that.
What is a lot of them now? Milwaukee, Bosch, whatever. DeWalt. Your mother, your father, your son, your daughter, your sister. No, wait a minute. Did Aunt Mary ever find your oldest sister? She never found her, did she?
Pardon?
The sister, the one sister we never met, the oldest sister. Aunt Mary went over to Italy to try to find her. You never found her? She never found her?
That was my mother's. Yeah, they had a daughter. I think her name was Rosa.
Who? A daughter with who?
My
Who's-
mother's daughter.
Who's the father?
I'm trying to remember who that was. I don't know.
Was it an
My
uncle?
dad. She might have been illegitimate for all I know.
Oh, from a guy previous thing,
I'm
whatever.
trying to think of. I may have that wrong. She had a sister. No, it was her sister, Rosa, and she had a humpback. She fell and she hurt her back.
Whose sister?
My mother's sister. And they came to the United States.
Uh huh.
I'm pretty sure her name was Rosa, but.
So it wasn't your sister. You never had this illegitimate sister.
Pardon?
You never had an illegitimate sister.
No.
I thought Dave Melcher and Jim Pilata, Jig's son. He said Aunt Mary went to Italy to try to find your. Because they said it was a rumor that our grandma had a kid or something. No. Mixed. It's a, kind of a, like a.
But
I know you're 91 and a half.
I know that when they came here, my grandfather and grandmother, they came Francesco. That's how that became Frank. My grandfather was Francesco.
And he lost his 4 brothers on a ship.
My mother had Maria,
No, your dad lost his brother on the ship? Or your grandfather lost his brother on the
Yeah,
ship?
he lost one.
Okay.
Two of them stayed here, and they went out west.
Columbus.
One
Well,
in
they started.
Columbus,
Yeah.
and one went out west someplace. They lost him. And but when my grandfather and my grandmother came here with my mother and Vico, their son, you met him. You remember him?
Yeah, once or twice.
Victoria. Anyway, Victoria. They couldn't breed her. They wouldn't allow. At Ellis, they didn't come in Ellis Island. They came in Philadelphia.
After the bathroom.
Oh, go ahead.
Keep talking, though. Keep
I'll
talking.
tell you when he come back. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's all. Taste it. Yeah. I'll tell you. 19, 20. Anyway, when my grandfather and grandmother and my mother and her brother came in Philadelphia and New York, Ellis Island, or I forgot the one in Philadelphia. If you had any ailments, they wouldn't let you in. Now, she didn't have any ailment, but she had a humpback. Somehow fell. They wouldn't let her in, so she had to stay. She had to stay there. So my sister, Mary, when she went over, she went to see her. As far as I remember, that was it. I just went. And I have records at home. My grandfather and his wife and brother, her brother, did everything. Took it to court, everything to get her here. They just, immigration would not allow her in. That was terrible.
So that was your mom's sister, not your so-called sister.
My mother's sister. Yeah, my sister. But I don't.
So there was no older sister, illegitimate sister you had.
There was. The only thing I know about older sisters, there was Maria, and she died at childbirth. I don't know if I still have those pictures. It just shows her in a little coffin. I don't even know what to call a coffin.
She would have been the oldest?
She would have been the oldest. My mother, they died in.
But who's the father of that?
My father.
Oh, okay.
Was their first child. I think they lost two.
That happens. That happens.
Just happened in childbirth. They didn't have the health things they have today.
What are you gonna do?
You know, that was just people.
What are you gonna do?
No, women were dying at childbirth. They just weren't sanitary enough.
What can you do?
That was nothing you could do.
Rosanna, 100 years ago, Rosanna would have been dead after
Right.
Clarissa or Mario. Who knows?
You know, it's a luck. What you don't realize, you don't know, is that when I was growing up, they had mumps. Do you hear kids have mumps?
Yeah, it's all gone. Yeah, I know.
Did they have mumps?
They got all that. They got
Chicken
shots
pox.
for everything now.
Did they have chicken pox?
No, they don't even have that.
Did they have measles?
No, they're all
Well, they
good.
all got shots for it.
I know.
Now, when I was a kid, and the worst one was scarlet fever. Oh, that was fever.
That was Little House on the Prairie stuff.
No, that was very bad.
Yeah.
All that stuff, you don't realize that they came up with shots, vaccinations. Even whooping cough. I had the greatest whooping cough. It was so bad, I was just a kid. It affected my eyes, and I had to wear glasses for a while.
Just look at TV. They invent stuff to get, make money off of. Who cares?
Frank, we didn't even have a radio. The first radio was about this big. It was not very big, but the sound was great. Yeah, the radio, wow. Then we got a stand-up radio, and I think it was just AM. I don't know if there was FM on it. And you opened it up, the front, and a record player for the big records. That was big, man.
My friend Dennis was the first kid on the street to get the KISS radio back in '78, whatever the hell it was.
I'm before TV. The first TVs were about this big, black and white. That's it. And we'd go to the stores, and it had a TV in the front window because they're trying to sell them. Bendix I think it was Bendix, or I forgot the name of the company. They came up with a cheap TV, and it worked.
Bendix makes brakes.
But those TVs had tubes that you had to replace.
Another Bendix.
Metal tubes. I mean, there were tubes. They're just like a light bulb. They had a thing inside, and when it would go, you'd go to the store and replace the tube and put it in there. And yeah, that was totally. I'm glad you asked because the technology is so advanced.
No, wait a minute. To go back.
Pardon?
You said the lady on the streetcars with the chicken bags?
Oh, yeah, well, that was...
Is that the chicken you broke? Didn't you try to... Is that one of the chickens your mom bought?
Yeah,
You broke the neck or tried to break the neck?
Not your mother. She never
No, your mother.
But my mother. Well, when you go to the West Side Market, they had an East Side Market and West Side Market. People had their own stands. And there was no Giant Eagle back then. I think there were small stores. There were corner shops, corner stores. I remember the Alice store at the corner of our place.
You said the lady on the streetcars that sell chickens in bags, though.
Yeah, well, streetcars was a way to get there. Buses came later. Then you had buses with trolleys, just like the streetcar with the wires. And,
when you broke the chicken's neck, you tried to break his chicken's neck. Was that from the West Side Market, or was that chicken from the train?
You go there and buy live chickens. You pick it, and I want it. You pick it, whatever chicken you want. Then you take them home. Women get on it with 2 shopping bags, and there'll be a chicken out of each bag. And they tie the legs and everything so they can't do anything. Get them home, and we used to watch. My mother would take them, and you have to pull the feathers off. So we all helped pulling the feathers off. Then you stick them in hot water, and you have to pull the little birds out. Then she would dissect it and take everything, all the innards out, and we all watched that. That was a big deal.
What about breaking its neck, though?
Every once in a while.
Did you try to break his neck?
Well, they had different ways of killing the chicken. Most people took it out and axed it. Then the blood would flow out. Now, my mother's family, you take it and break its neck, you hang it upside down, and all the blood runs to the head. So when you clean it, it's not bloody. They had a different, pretty slick ideas. Anyway, on a duck, that's why we have a duck or a goose. They had their own ways of doing stuff. They always show a movie.
But didn't you stretch the chicken
Stuff
out?
the goose.
Didn't you stretch it out, the head?
No, well, if you didn't do it right.
You said you didn't do it right, though. You said you didn't do it right.
No, well, one time, I said, Mom, let me try it. So she said, go ahead. The chicken was hanging upside down on the doorknob, tied, and you grab it, and you'd break the neck. Even my grandmother,
Yeah.
little old lady, she could just kick that fast.
Yeah.
Me, I'm doing it. Before I know it, I had the neck about this off. I hung it up. The head was touching the floor.
You invented
My
rubber
mother
chickens.
Just laughed her head off. She just laughed her head off.
So did you kill anybody in the Korean War?
Pardon?
Did you kill anybody in the Korean War?
I shot at him, but I don't know
You
if I
killed them. Come on.
No, I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did.
You said
I
you were
fought-
front line getting 4 points a month.
I did. I did fight.
Then you had to. Someone had to die.
I was in a tank, and you know how you ever fire a rifle?
No, I don't know nothing.
Did you ever fire a rifle?
Not since the kids.
A BB
I only
gun.
shot 22s. I shot 22s. That's it.
Yeah, that's okay. Even a BB gun. Well, when you think there's two types of tanks. There's a howitzer. A howitzer, you just shoot it.
Uh huh.
It's like artillery. You just shoot it, and someone tells you it's 100 yards out, so you set it on the thing and you shoot it. On a tank, I aimed right at the target and shot it. Now there was
Well, if you had a target,
4 guys.
locked in target, you must have killed somebody.
Well, I may have. I don't know. I just never knew. I shot
You
at
got
him.
your 4 points and got out.
Yeah, well, I was on the front line, so that you had to be on the front line.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was up there.
Cool.
No, wait a minute. We're in the slot, and we're looking down at the MLR, the main line of resistance. The enemy's on the other side.
Where's your
And-
Korean hat?
So
Where'd you put the Korea hat? Left it in the
it's
house?
in the house.
Okay.
I won't leave without it. But anyway, we had the tank commander, you have the driver, the bow gunner, he has a machine gun, he's in a lower level, and the guy that fires the gun, and a loader. And then you may not have a tank commander, but you should. A tank commander, and he sits above, and he sits above the driver, and he can, with his feet, he can tell him right, left, which way you want to go, and then he could call the shot. But nobody wanted to be who wants to be the gunner? Nobody wanted us. I'll be the gunner.
I thought you drove it.
I
thought you drove the
You
tank.
have to look.
You do everything.
In Fort Knox, where I went, that's for tank training. You do everything. You do everything. In fact, we had to dig a foxhole, lay in it, and a tank goes right over you.
Mm-hmm.
Just to prove it. Then another thing
SOP.
is, we had to crawl on the ground, and they had machine guns firing across.
Mm-hmm.
You had to learn how to crawl. Don't stick your head up. Blow your head off. Everybody went down. So they had it, but they're flying across, and that was all training. So when I went overseas to Korea, I got to the depot, and the warrant officer that signs you, he's not a lieutenant, he's sort of in between. He says, "What do you want to do?" "What do you mean, what I want to do?" "Well, you can do whatever job you want." Well, some guys trained for the infantry. I remember the 2 guys, they said, "We'd like to be cooks." So they made cooks out of them. They said, "What do you want to do?" Well, I just thought, well, I was trained to be in the tanks. So that's what I did. I was trained to be in the tanks. I was trained. Why would they want to put me on something else?
Tanks a lot for your service.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I'm trained to be that. But I didn't know what I was asking about. So in Korea, there was the 38 parallel, and we were in this slot. The tank's pretty good size. We pulled into that slot.
Sherman, right?
Pardon?
Sherman, right? Sherman tank?
Sherman.
Was it
yeah,
Sherman?
that was
Because
the
they got
name.
them over at if you go to Camp Perry over by Sandusky,
Yeah, well,
they got it right out there. When we go to camp up there, Camp
Yeah,
Perry,
That's right.
there's one sitting out there.
VFW has
On
one,
York,
too.
yeah, they have one there too.
Yeah, when we trained there was 2 types of tanks. Now they have self-loaders on them. I heard one time they came to Parmatown, and I went in it. These young guys are on it, and I'm older. I said, "I used to be a tanker." "Were you?" "Yeah, let me look at yours, because theirs is so automatic. They got GPS on them. They got all kinds of stuff. not the ones I had. We had a brake. It was 13 inches clutch, 13-inch clutch. And it worked like a farm tractor. You want to go right, you pull right. You want to go left, pull left. You want to go straight. So sometimes you're in parades, and we'd have to go down and right down the middle.
When were you in a parade?
Parade in
Where?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh.
Not overseas, not overseas. But when we over there, it was totally different. Totally different. Oh yeah, it was totally different. Over there,
but you're friends with you're friends with the British and Belgium guys, and
pardon?
you're friends with the Australian, Belgium, and British guys.
We met some on a ship. We just met them on a ship. We didn't. They may have been. They could have been down the line from us, but I never fought with them or was in there. We had our own position to cover. It was United Nations, so we had our area to cover. And so I was in the slot, and we're always ready. We always had to be ready. If there was a red light comes on, that means the enemy's coming across. And there's a line, it's called
yeah, but did you know if you were shooting at North Korean or Chinese people, or which ones? You don't know?
Well, the Korean people were mainly, but the Chinese came later because MacArthur, before I got there, took them all the way up to the Yellow River.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go all the way into, but President Truman wouldn't do it. And was it Truman? I think it was Truman. And any one of the presidents wouldn't do it. And just like Second War, Pat wanted to go right into Moscow, and they should have let him. They would have stopped a lot of Cold War crap that went on after that. But anyway, MacArthur took them all the way up to the Yalu, and then the Chinese came in. And the Chinese, they didn't care. When we have infantry going forward, the artillery would shoot first, and then the troops would go in. Not the Russians or the Chinese. They didn't care if they lost men. They sent 100 men and shoot at the same time, so they were killing their own. And if 100 didn't make it, they'd send 200. 200 couldn't make it. They'd care less about life. You just, yeah. And what was the one story? A Russian officer wanted volunteers, and if you said no, he'd shoot you. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, they were different. Even the South Korean army was different. They were mean to their own people, not like us. And one time, a guy comes in with a mortar that was a dud. North Korean shot at us. That thing was the size of a watermelon. And it's not the explosion that might kill you, it's the shrapnel. So it flies all over the place. But yeah, I shot at him, and at night, in fact, I got I think I got a corporal rating because I did so well. I don't know, I just did what they told me. But I could fire it just like a rifle. But you know what? I just did what I was trained to do. I was trained to do it, and I stuck with that. And that worked out, so I was very fortunate. I was there in 53. The guys there in 50, 51, the first couple of years, they had it tough. They had it rough. Once we pushed them back to they almost had us out of there. They almost won, but they came back and pushed them right back to the 38 parallel. It's still a truce. That war was never ended. The North Koreans are still up there. And once in a while, when they see that South Korea is wealthy, they're doing good business, a lot of stuff that you buy in a store is made in South Korea. And North Korea, I don't know what So far, they haven't done anything. Every once in a while, they defect. Some of the North Koreans defect because they're starving. So, North Korea is not doing a business in South. But so far, they're getting along. They're not fighting each other. And China's there. They're always a threat. There's a billion of those people. Hate to have to fight them. Oh my God. That'd be something. But it could happen. But it isn't likely. And people say, well, they'll use the atomic. Even the Russians, what's this, Putin? He threatened that. That's bullshit. Why would you shoot that? Because you can't use that land for 2,500 years. It's not a win situation.
They make empty threats. That's all they got is empty threats.
People said, well, they're going to do.
Because the end game is like, there's no win for anybody, them or anybody.
Yeah,
so what are you going to do? They're
win.
dummies.
So in a way, when Truman had to make the toughest decision of any president ever lived. When the atomic bomb was developed, Manhattan Project in Cleveland, in New York and Chicago, and they decided to use it, and they dropped it on Nagasaki. They picked 2 cities. What was the 2 cities? Anyway, they dropped one, and what it did to those people, innocent Japanese people, their leaders were bad. People were not. I was in Japan. I was never treated better, ever. And then they dropped the second one, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Finally, after the second one, the Japanese surrendered. They surrendered unconditionally. They surrendered. And MacArthur went in there and took care of the leadership and all that. And I had the good fortune. I went to Korea, but they would give us, when I went there, I went to Japan first, and Yokohama. Everything's miniature there. Their tracks are closer, the trains are smaller. Anyway, we were on there. And once you got to know the people, they bowed, very friendly. I don't know how. Their leaders were bad. They just had bad leadership. They were so industrious.
How much do they charge you for a cup of coffee?
I can't remember, but even when we got there, they had some entertainers, Japanese entertainers, and they did it in English. And they were funny. They were comedians. They had bands. The barbers, you go there and get a haircut. They wash your hair. They did your feet. They took. And then the other one was, they were people of comfort. You would be amazed. If I said, take off your shoes and walk in your house, they do that all the time. They never wear their shoes in the house because they heat everything from underneath. It all rises. We have it at home. In our house, we have the heat from the basement comes up. Well, they did it. They did it roughly. They have their house, they have their floor, and then underneath are tunnels. They have a fire on one end and exhaust on the other end, and they could do it. So when the heat is underneath, it rises. So their floors are just totally warm and comfortable. They even sleep on it. They have, you ever see an Indian papoose thing? When the baby is in the back in a little, that's their bed. They lay it on the floor. I slept in one. You climb in it like you climb into a glove, and you sleep in it. What was the other one? When they take a shower, they have a shower to wash the dirt off, and then they have a tub buried into the ground, so you stand in it and it's hot. After you shower, you go in there and you just relax. They have bigger ones, but the house itself, when I have a shower, after you're all washed, you go in there and you just soak. And you just sit in there and soak. Sometimes it's big enough for a whole family, and they do it as a family. Now, they were people of comfort. They don't have any doors that open. They all slide. Everything slides. Now, they're people of comfort. I came home and told people that, well, see, they remember the Second World War, the Japanese. Well, I said that was the military. These are the day in, day out people that live there. You go to Italy or Germany or France or whatever, or listen, you can go to a different state here and they live differently than you live in Ohio. It's different. But anyway, they're so clean. Oh, the kids, when the kids go to school, they're dressed to the nines. I don't care what age, they're dressed to the nines. And they have the buses for them, they push them on. The way the Japanese work, the first 5 years, the kid can do anything he wants. Once he's 5, I think it's 5 or 7, he has the age of reason, then he's held responsible for what he does. And they don't let, they're disciplinarians, they're very much disciplined. I was very impressed with that, very impressed. As far as their religion, they have everything there. They have Shinto, Catholic, Protestant. They have, and none, I suppose. But yeah, they're hardworking, skillful people. Very skillful. They're hardworking.
Well, thanks you for your service.
Pardon?
I said thanks you for your service.
Sure.
Thanks you for your service.
But I was drafted.
Yeah.
That's all. I was going to join. I wanted to join the Navy, and they went from 3 years to 4 years, and I said, I don't want to. I'm not giving anybody 4 years of my life. So I said, I'll trust the draft. Little did I know what I got to see, and I don't regret a bit of it. It was a fantastic experience. Fortunately, I came out of it in good shape. So I nothing but I met some wonderful people in the military and in the civilians. Good people. I never traveled on the ocean. We went from Seattle, Washington.
What are you talking about? I thought you said you were on a boat and half the guys were seasick.
Oh, they were 90% the first night. We got on board, and we see this big ship, a General Buckner. It was blue and beautiful. And we thought we were going to go on that ship. They said, turn right. And we got on a Liberty ship, a one-stacker, and gray, just walked on it. And the only smart thing I did is they had, where we slept, they had 4 levels of sleeping racks. They weren't beds, they were like, what do we have between the trees? Anyway, we slept on them. I took the top one. I said, someone throws up, I don't want them throwing up on me, so I went up to the top. And
that when you're first going over to Korea?
Yeah, well, that was the first trip. Yeah, to ship over there. It took us 18 days on the ocean.
Then he flew over when we went back the second time?
Never flew.
I thought you said
Took a ship both times.
Never mind, you're 91. Sorry.
Took a ship there and back. Well, we took 3 ships. Ship there, then a ship to Korea, and then I don't know how we got to Japan. The ship was to get to Japan. And then the only time we flew is when we had R&R. I was there maybe 6-7 months. And I got R&R, and they sent me to They sent us
To Tokyo
sent to Japan for 5 or 6
with
days.
Adam Alda and all them.
Pardon?
With Adam Alda and with Adam Alda and Harry Morgan and all them.
I don't understand.
The guys from MASH. You met up with them?
Who?
Never mind.
No. But we had a MASH thing. I was in it. I got pneumonia, or I got a heavy cold, and I went on sick call, and they took me in. I had a fever, and they they gave me GI gin, which is apple juice and alcohol and ice. Now I drink that. I got over it, but I was away. I don't know how long I was away, but I did have. But that was after the war was over. So I remember that. And that was MASH, and yeah, they took care of me and then sent me back. So yeah, it's yeah, I met guys like I said.
Hey, I was gonna ask you. I don't know why I'm thinking about this now, but do you know anybody else that's buried in Rittman? Yet? You know anybody else that's buried here by Wadsworth over there? No.
My brother Joe's the only one, and Joe Spade.
They're buried in Rittman?
Yeah. Well, you have to be a veteran to be.
I mean Korean people though.
No, anybody in the middle.
No, I mean, do you know anybody from Korea that's buried there?
No, I don't.
No.
No, but my brother Joe and Josephine are there.
Wasn't Jack?
My brother Jack and my brother Jake both could have been. They were both in the military. They could have gone, and George too. But you can choose where you want to go.
Yeah, you get your own. Everybody's got their own deal. So.
But no, I have it all set.
I know.
I have it all set. All you have.
I know. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's where I'm going to be buried.
Well, anyway, hey, cool.
If you ever go down there to see it, it's beautiful. Like this weekend, Memorial Day, that place would be.
Well, like a year ago, Mike Trevisano, or a couple years ago, Trevisano, people were calling in. They had a big thing that lasted a week. They couldn't figure out what the whole graveyard, or whatever. They were arguing what city limits it was in. Was it in?
Oh, Rittman?
Well, Rittman controls the utilities, so it's not in Rittman. I mean, technically it's not in Rittman or Wadsworth.
Yeah, it's close. It's a tough thing. They'd have to decide that. But the cemetery is in Rittman.
Well, they say it's in Rittman. Technically it's not, though.
I don't know that.
Like the Rittman police, like they police it if there's an emergency or something.
But if you saw it,
they call it Rittman. They say to
But it's a national cemetery.
Yeah.
National. So the national people take care of it, and it's really done well. Yeah, it's amazing. But if you went to Arlington, and that's where my Maria probably will be buried.
Yeah.
Because that's, she's Navy. Although, even at the yard, the Naval Academy yard, they have a cemetery. Most of those they had some kids in accidents, car accidents that died. While they were going there, they were cadets. They may have buried them right on the academy grounds. But I would think Maria would be buried in Arlington Cemetery, unless she chose otherwise. It's up to her. But that's Arlington would be a place. John F. Kennedy, that's where the presidents are buried.
But they're saying it's argued between Rittman, Wadsworth, Seville, and another city.
Yeah, they're right in there.
Like four cities.
I don't know about the boundaries. All I know is that it's a national cemetery, and they run it. The national people run it. It's not even Metro Parks. Oh, they run it. They run It's well taken care of. Everything's done to the nines. It's beautiful. It's a place of burial, but it's so well done. You know, the crosses are right in line, right to the T. And the grounds are beautiful. You know, well taken care of. You know, but most cemeteries are taken care of. Yeah, my sister Franny and Ralph they got the cemetery. It's over on the west side. What's the name of it? West Park or something.
Welcome to Huntington. Real people compensated for true stories.
Kickstarting your summer
Can't
at the Home
remember
Depot is all about three things. Saving.
My mother's the one on Brook Park, the one out there.
Holy Cross.
Yeah, the one, the big one out there.
Use it to make your garden pop and retain optimal soil moisture.
That's where I was gonna go, but then the military had to go on there. And my wife can be buried there with me. And
My mother.
if even cremation, she wants to be cremated, they would put that with me. We've taken care of that. Hope it's far off. But Mom and I have set everything in order, so you guys shouldn't have to worry about it. Just execute it. It's all in the book. Take it to the what's the Trudeau home on
Vision Institute is offering $1,000 off their wavelength laser when treatment in June. That's $500 off per eye with guaranteed financing. So book your free
What are you talking about?
consultation with the experts in LASIK and visit
What are you talking about?
LASIK.com now.
I'm
That's
trying to think of it. It's a
LASIK.com.
Italian name.
Amazing vision, amazing price. Cost of LASIK compared to a daily $4.50 latte over 3 years.
They have one in St. Rocco, but this one's out here.
$1,000 off for both eyes on standard wavelength price. $500 off for one eye. Cannot be combined with any other offers. See details at
We
LASIK.com.
contracted that. Yeah, they're smart. They go out and see people and make deals then, and it's all taken care of. And how I got that was guys younger than me said, "Oh, Hank, yeah, my wife and I, we got it all set when they take care of it." So we called it.
The VA. Yeah, but you took advantage of the VA. You took advantage of the VA, right? Well, why didn't they take it? Why didn't you?
Let me put it this way. I belong to the VFW, and if she lets them know, they're there, and they play taps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there might be a benefit, VFW benefit for me. There may be a benefit. Cover costs or something, but yeah, I would. If something should happen like that, I'm a member of the VFW, so veterans of foreign wars. So I just I don't know if I was really. I might have been active one time at the meetings and such. And I'm a member of Knights of Columbus also. I'm not an active member, but I used to be real active. Now each church has a Knights of Columbus. They used to have a separate place, but then they said, no, they're gonna, every church will have a Knights of Columbus. So I pay my membership there. So if something happens, let the church know and follow that. Mom and I have taken care of that. We did that 10 years ago. I don't know how many years ago. Let's take care of that. So you never have to worry about it.
All right. Well, happy Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Have a good. Hope you see. Hope you make it another 8.5 years to 100.
You know what? It's one day at a time, John. Frank. You get up in the morning, you got a new day before you. You got here today to enjoy your
Okay.
get together.
Have a good Marley.